Faruk Shuaibu. I am a digital designer. I'm here to talk to you about how design is changing our tech startup ecosystem. But before I go there, I'd like to tell you first about what qualifies me to do so. You see, I have always been interested in startups, building things, building products. I love the feeling that comes with building products that you give to customers and then they pay you money for. I love the feeling that comes with giving people value that they pay you money for. So way back, level 300, here in BUK, I am a civil engineer. I was a civil engineering student. I and a group of amazing friends, 5 of us, we built an app called CAMMAT. So CAMMAT was supposed to solve an issue with Bayero University's layout and the planning. If any of you remember, or if any of you are students, you will be able to tell that Bayero University is not well planned in terms of where you get food and accessibility. Take, for instance, a department way back, geography. Someone in geography can be able to tell how hard it is to come all the way to Coke Village to get decent food. So the application was built to solve this problem. The way it works is someone in geography gets to download the app, geography department, he'll make an order, and we'll receive this order and deliver it to him. So it was a bright idea, amazing idea. We're making a lot of money, and it was quite successful. Actually, no, it wasn't. We had only 12 customers that were stable, and it was really, really bad. On the daily average, we'd have 2 angry customers. We had a lecturer who was a customer that made an order, and the app told him that he was going to have his order delivered in 15 minutes, and we delivered it in 2 hours. He was angry, and he promised us he'd never use the app again. The only one person that used the app frequently was Malam Datti, and he used it only because he just wanted to encourage us and he believed in what we were doing. So why am I telling you about this? I'm telling you about this because I want you to understand that I have tried and I've failed multiple times from both ends. So that was CAMMAT logo. The thing is, a lot of our startups here in the North are failing. If you look back, 2012, there was a rise in our tech startup ecosystem. We had amazing products, but they're nowhere to be found today. I mean, a few of them made it to this day, but a lot of them are nowhere to be found. So I'm here to tell you what those people that made it are doing different. What they're doing different that is making them succeed and excel in a very rough and tough place like Kano or the North. So, design. And there are a lot of reasons why startups fail, but one of the reasons I'm going to talk about here today is design and what it covers and what it's all about. So when I mention design to people, I know what they feel or what they think it is all about is the aesthetics, how it looks, and not how it feels. But before I go ahead, I would like to clarify on that. Design is not how it looks. Design covers everything from the product, there's the product design, and the process as well. For instance, in CAMMAT, we always thought, the design covered how the app looked, but we were wrong. It covered everything from the app, our delivery, our process, and the experience, the user experience. So design is rooted in selflessness, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because most of our startups that have failed fail to understand this. You're building not for yourself, but for your user. So you need to understand your user. You need to be selfless. You need to put in all that effort to give the user what they want, not what you want necessarily. You need to understand your user and build and design around them. And this is what we fail to understand in CAMMAT. So our tech startup ecosystem is becoming really, really competitive. And how are we able to do this? Because of design. We're beginning to understand the impact design has on shipping products, new products, and getting them out there. I mean, we had OPay just came like a wave a few months ago. And then in just a few other months, we have other startups like Dansahu competing on a very, very powerful level. How are they able to do this? They're taking in all the data, they're understanding what our people want, and they're giving it to them through informed design, well-informed design. So I see a pattern. And what's this pattern? It's a success pattern. I had to take a step back to look at all the successful products that I've worked with and I have not worked with. And I questioned myself, what are these products doing? What are they doing that's making them so successful? What are they doing that's making them thrive over here in the North? Products like Yoda Box. So the Yoda Box is a small device that is made for kids between the age of 3 to 12. The device is supposed to allow kids get access to quality education, good quality education here in Africa. And within just 3 months of launching, it has sold hundreds of units. And it has been installed, the visual learning system has been installed in tens of private and public schools. So what are they doing? What are we doing that's making this succeed? Whenever a customer sees the logo, they know what they feel. The branding, the logo, the storytelling, everything is designed to make the user experience for this product an amazing one. And every single step we're taking is conscious. We're not just winging it. And that's what I feel is making us succeed. We're taking design seriously because it is basically a coverage of how we're being portrayed to not just only our users, but other people around us. So, like I said, the pattern is storytelling, branding, values, and then iterating from there. Basically, looking at the story you have to tell to reach your users. And also looking at branding. What is branding? Branding is not your logo. Branding is not your colors. It's not the patterns. It's not any of those visuals. All these things, in fact, are a subset of branding. Branding is basically your gut feeling when you see a product. You feel a certain way when you see the Coca-Cola logo. You feel a certain way when you see the Pepsi logo. So branding is basically that feeling you give your customers whenever they see your product. That's why whenever you go to the market and you have a certain amount of money in your pocket, enough to buy a Nike, you probably prefer to buy a Nike instead of buying an Adidas. That choice is the brand because you believe in the brand. And this is what we are not taking seriously here. And then values. What are you standing on? What are you rooted for? Brands like Nike, of course, are all for performance. Brands like Coke are all for legacy. Pepsi is all about change. All these words that you can associate with brands, those are values. So I feel like the most successful startups in the North are beginning to understand this, and they're getting all that feedback and they're iterating. And this is what is changing our ecosystem. This is what's making us successful. So what am I doing to contribute to this here in the North? I, under the mentorship of Anasizid, working on a design agency called V35. V35, the name is because we are going to be taking 35 startups at a time. What we are trying to do is look at how we can ensure that startups afford good quality design, good quality planning, but at a very, very cheap price, at a very, very low startup rate. And how we're doing this is we're looking at what are those metrics you can measure design by. What are those very important metrics? And we realized all startups, especially here, do not pay attention to their sales funnel. So what this is doing is looking for those patterns that we can use to our advantage to drive as many customers as possible into your sales funnel. And that's how we measure our metrics. What can you do on your end? If you have a startup, if you're here and you have a startup, what can you do on your end to make it work, to be part of those people who are pioneers and who are taking design, who are design sensitive, who are taking design seriously and changing our startup ecosystem you can begin to take the design first approach. Before you plan your process, before you execute, you're supposed to think, how will this work? Because design is not about how it looks, actually about how it works. So you're supposed to plan all that out. How do my customers respond to this? These are the questions you're supposed to ask. How do my customers relate to this? Your customers are supposed to relate. Am I designing around my customers? Am I designing for the right customers even? Am I targeting the right market? All these questions, when you ask them first, I assure you you're on the way to success. So my hope is living here today is, if even you haven't started anything yet, let's say a startup or anything like that, you can take this knowledge and pass it on to as many startups as we have around here. Because the more of these startups we have here in Kano, the better for our economy, the better for our people. Thank you very much.